Listen to these words for a second. Tremendously roaring and full of deep whirlpools, an object of terror to all creatures. Just let that intense imagery wash over you. We're definitely not talking about a breezy, sunny day at the beach here. We're talking about an ancient, primal force, an absolute abyss. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're taking a pretty incredible journey back in time, going deep into the mythological waters of a fascinating ancient text. We're looking at an excerpt from the Astika Parva, which is part of the massive Indian epic, the Mahabharata. And what's amazing here is that this text doesn't just describe a body of water. No, it constructs an entire universe within the waves. It frames the ocean as something terrifying, holy, bottomless, and completely alive. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, A Wager of Slavery, the mortal scale. To really grasp the sheer magnitude of this ancient ocean, the text uses this awesome kind of cosmic zoom. We start right on the ground at the mortal scale, and our story kicks off with a shockingly high-stakes bet. We meet these two sisters, Kadru and Vinata, and they haven't just bet a few coins or something trivial, they've literally made a wager about slavery. Whoever loses this bet becomes the slave of the other sister. The goal of this impatience-fueled, super tense wager? They're rushing out to view a legendary mythic steed, a divine horse named Uchchaishravas. So they're focused, they're hurrying, and they are completely consumed by their own mortal drama. But to get to this mythical horse, they obviously have to cross the landscape. I mean, imagine you're one of these sisters, right? You're rushing forward, your actual freedom is on the line, your heart is just pounding in your chest, and suddenly your path is entirely blocked. You look up, and what is standing between you and your prize? It's not just a river you can wade across. It is the ocean. As the text calls it, that receptacle of waters vast and deep. Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 2, Monsters of the Deep, the terrestrial scale. The second these sisters stand on the shore, the text plunges us straight into the visceral, physical reality of the ocean. Look at the absolute chaos the text throws at us here. They don't see calm, gently rolling waves. They see a churning mass of predators. The text actually mentions fishes large enough to swallow a whale. I mean, think about the sheer scale of that for a second. We've got massive tortoises, crocodiles, and thousands of what the author simply calls monster-shaped, dark, and fierce aquatic animals. The waters are literally dark and terrifying, with the noise of these huge beasts thrashing around. It's basically a liquid minefield of teeth and scales. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the specific mention of makaras. For those of us who might not be totally steeped in ancient Hindu lore, a makara is a legendary sea creature. You can kind of think of it almost like an aquatic chimera. It's often depicted with the jaws of a crocodile, the trunk of an elephant, the scales of a fish, and the tail of a peacock. And when the text places these huge makaras right alongside actual known animals like whales and crocodiles, it beautifully blurs the line between the natural world and the mythological world. To the ancient mind observing this ocean, both were equally real, and for sure, equally deadly. Section 3, The Realm of Immortals, the Divine Scale. So, as our eyes adjust to the terrifying monsters in the shallows, the text demands that we look deeper and enter the divine scale. And honestly, this is probably the most fascinating concept in this entire explainer. The text presents a profound dualism. On one hand, exactly as we just saw, the ocean is the terror of all creatures. It's this abyss of fear and monsters. But in the exact same breath, the text declares the ocean to be immutable, sacred, beneficial to the gods, and the great source of nectar. How incredible is that? The ultimate nightmare is simultaneously the absolute holiest source of divine, life-giving nectar. Chaos and sanctity just swirling together in the exact same waters. And because of this immense dual power, the ocean serves as the ultimate cosmic sanctuary. Check out this list from the text. It's essentially an infinite apartment building for the divine and the damned. It's the home of Varuna, the water god himself. It's the gorgeous residence of the Nagas, those great serpent beings. It acts as an asylum and retreat for the Asuras, the demons, whenever they get overcome in fierce worldly encounters. It's even the refuge for a mountain. Yeah, the text notes it's where the mountain Mainaka hides, fearful of falling thunderbolts. Literally everything that needs a place to hide hides in the ocean. So the crucial point is that this ocean is not just some passive backdrop, it's a super active participant in the mythology of the universe. It is the literal birthplace of holy artifacts like Vasudeva's great conch shell, Panchajanya. It's a mine of gems, and it's the stage for world-altering divine interventions. The text recalls this moment when these very waters were violently disturbed because Lord Govinda, an avatar of Vishnu, took the form of a wild boar and plunged into the depths to literally raise the submerged earth right out of the water. The ocean is the theater where the cosmos is actively shaped. Which naturally brings us to a rather mind-bending question. Just how deep is this theater? Well, the text actually gives us a metric. The vow-observing Rishi Atri, who is this great enlightened sage, decided he was going to find the bottom. He toiled, using all his spiritual and physical might. For how long? 100 years. For an entire century, this sage tried to fathom the depths, and he utterly failed. The text tells us the ocean's bottom is actually lower than the nether regions themselves. It's unfathomable, it's limitless, it's basically infinity in liquid form. And what actually happens at the very bottom of infinity? Well, at the termination of every yuga, which is the end of a vast cosmic epic when time itself basically resets, this unfathomable depth becomes a bed. The supreme deity, the lotus-naveled Vishnu, rests here. Way beneath the storms, far beneath the monsters, and the deepest, most quiet dark imaginable, Vishnu enters Yoga Nidra. It's this state of incredibly deep, powerful spiritual slumber. The ocean is literally the cradle of the sleeping universe. Section 4. The Eternal Dance. The Philosophical View. Having taken us all the way down to the resting place of God, the text brings us right back to the surface. The sisters are still standing on the shore, watching the water. And the author paints this incredibly vivid, high-energy picture for us. They look out and see mighty rivers rushing into the ocean by the thousands. But they aren't just sort of lazily flowing. The text says they move with a proud gait, like amorous competitors, each eager for meeting it, for stalling the others. It's an intense, passionate race. Every single drop of fresh water on Earth is furiously, almost romantically, rushing to become one with the sea. And how does the ocean respond to all this rushing energy? It definitely doesn't just sit there. The text says that moved by the winds and swelling with the waxing and waning of the moon, the ocean seems to dance everywhere with uplifted hands represented by its surges. It is literally throwing its hands up in the air. It's an incredibly beautiful, joyous image that completely contrasts all that terror we read about earlier. The ocean is alive, it's reacting to the cosmos, and it is engaged in this permanent, unending dance. And this brilliantly illustrates the ancient mind's ability to reconcile opposites into perfect harmony. The text notes that the ocean is the abode of a blazing subterranean fire. But instead of these elements just destroying each other, it's described as a sacred ritual. The ocean offers water as sacrificial butter to the blazing fire issuing from the mouth of Vairava, the ocean mar. Water feeding fire, chaos creating peace. The entire ocean is framed as one continuous, massive cosmic sacrifice, sustaining the balance of the whole universe. Which leaves us right here, looking at the exact same ocean those ancient authors did. I mean, we've got satellite maps now, right? We have submersibles, we map the currents, and we meticulously measure the salinity. But when we stand on the shoreline, looking out at that vast, rolling blue expanse, have we lost our sense of the mythic? Do we still allow ourselves to feel the unfathomable awe of a universe that dances, a depth that hides gods, and a primal force that is both our greatest terror and the very source of life itself? I really hope this text reminds you to look just a little bit closer next time you see the waves. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. See you next time.